Welcome to Level Up Russellville, the show where we explore the great things happening to Russellville and the Arkansas River Valley. Sit back, relax, these opportunities are real, and you might even be able to take advantage of them yourself. Enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Level Up Russellville podcast. Today we're sitting down with a few people. First to my left here is Sarah Teagle with Teagle Consulting. We got Josh McMillian over here with the I-40 shooting range and James Guhl from the ASBTDC. And you're the director of the ASBTDC, is that right?
Of the local, yes.
Of the local.
Regional director.
Awesome. Well, sit back, relax. We're going to talk about a lot of things this episode, including this free resource that you have available to you, the new shooting range that's coming to Pottsville, Arkansas, leadership styles, all sorts of things. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're invested in growing, you're going to like this one. I've actually never done a podcast with this many people before. It's usually just one.
Hey.
And
I think most I've done is two.
Yeah. Me neither. I was telling you, I've been on Walmart TV before with a script, but not ad-libbed. And
It'll be
so
fun.
how long did you work for Walmart?
34 years.
Wow. And what would you say the main takeaway was from those 34 years? What did Walmart teach you?
Probably the leadership style of making sure that you relate to people, address behaviors, and not attack individuals, leave them feeling like they're attacked. And then also they expect you as a leader to speak first. So when I would go into a store in the mornings, they would know I was there. They may be working freight, have their back to me, but they would know I was there. But if I didn't speak first, then they would feel like I was somebody important, which I wasn't. I mean, I was a regional compliance manager, but that's not important to me. I mean, but at any rate, they felt like. Matter of fact, I had one episode where a young lady over in the meat department, I spoke to her good morning. She turned to me and almost had tears in her eyes. She says, "I've worked here 10 years. I've had all kinds of big shots," she called me, "come through here, and you're the first one that's ever spoke to me." So wow. Even in our culture where we talked about taking care of people and relating to people, we still didn't always do it, like we should have. So I always wanted to treat people, when I gave them correction, I addressed the behavior and not the individual. You don't say, you're an idiot for squeezing the toothpaste in wrong. It's, this will be more efficient if you'll do it this way. And if you haven't done it before, let me show you where to find it on the computer. And I'll check with you next time and see how it's going.
Sarah, is that corporate America? Is leadership toxic sometimes? Is it?
Oh, yeah. But I think it also depends on where you work and the culture that you build. So, like, I'm similar to what you're talking about, that culture of speaking and just being open, giving feedback. But there is cultures that are toxic, and they're not conducive to growing a business. And it is, if you're considered that big wig or higher up, that you don't speak and you don't build those relationships, and that's not what anybody wants. So, yeah, it's definitely a thing in corporate.
I've had a couple corporate jobs, but I was real entry level, and I was also really young. But something that demoralized me was having an idea, and just like the corporate structure didn't allow for new ideas to happen. Hey, maybe we find a way to do something better. But then your immediate supervisor just like, no.
Yeah, they're stuck in this is the way we've always done it, so let's just continue to do it this way.
Yep.
It's a lot of corporate America.
Well, my culture was a little different than that. They kind of promoted experimenting and things within boundaries, so you didn't get off the road. But they encouraged everybody to get out of the box, as they would refer to the terminology. Matter of fact, the people greeter program that was instituted there in the company was actually an idea from an hourly associate in a Louisiana Walmart store, and Mr. Sam took that and ran with it and promoted that program initially. It's different than it was when it initially started, but that idea came from the bottom. And so again, the leaders listening.
Yeah. But I think that speaks to Walmart's culture.
Yeah, that part of the culture.
Yes.
Great. Yeah.
Yep. 100%. And that's a lot of their success too. is having that culture and building those strong leaders and building that environment where people feel open, right? Because you're talking about it's demoralizing. And then you just said, somebody in the entry level or, hourly employee. So imagine if they just shut it down right away, how different Walmart's culture would be. So I like that.
Yeah. That being said, sometimes maybe it's good to be demoralized or deflated a little bit. Like your predecessor, Rhonda Hawkins, I had some ideas because I first became aware of the ASBTDC, 5 years ago. I had some dumb ideas that I thought would do really well. Like I was just going to start this company. There were a few that I brought to her, and one was I was going to make rock climbing hangboards, buy a CNC router and like cut out the wood. Y'all ever seen those things? They're like little pull-up bars you can hang on. Not necessarily a bad idea, but she brought me down to earth, like, hey, how big do you think the market is? And I was like, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. So is that something you're having to do? Do you feel like you're doing that a lot, bringing people down to earth? Or what is how does it feel to now be running this, I guess, local office of the center?
Well, just to talk a little bit about the center real quick, we're paid for by a government grant and matching funds from the local university, particularly Arkansas Tech in our situation, although we have offices throughout the state. And so there's a no-cost fee to our people that we consult and work with, so that helps them. But, the first thing we want to do is make sure that they got a viable idea and that there is a market for it. So we do have to try to help them think through that process. Oftentimes they are very good at being a welder or being a cook, but they don't have that business acumen. So you have to help them realize that there's more to it than just warm fuzzies and praise for doing a good job. You might be the great cook at Thanksgiving, but doing the restaurant business is a little bit different there. So you can't put warm fuzzies in the bank like you do at Thanksgiving, so to speak. And so we do help them bring them down to reality. One of the things is helping them actually write a business plan. And oftentimes we think of a written business plan as one step towards seeking funding from a bank or a lender of some type. But in reality, that business plan forces them to crystallize their thoughts, put it on paper. When you start writing things down, then all of a sudden you say, well, maybe hangboards are not such a good idea, or maybe there's not enough rock climbers around here close. Maybe that would be a good idea in the Rocky Mountains somewhere, or someplace where climbing is probably a special event, but maybe not so much in Russellville, Arkansas. So the best ideas sometimes, though, are just not going to work if you can't get funding. So we also have to talk to them realistically about, do you have the funds to actually start a business? Because unfortunately, in spite of all the stories about bootstrapping and starting from nothing, most businesses can't manage that. The statistical research shows that about 10% of all the businesses are not going to make it the first year, 10 to 20, depending on which statistics you look at. Another 50% are not going to make it 5 years, and about 65% don't make it for a full 10 years. And partially that's because they didn't build a solid foundation to begin with. So it's like building a house. If you didn't build a good foundation, the rest of your house is going to be shaky and not withstand, stormy weather or whatever it might encounter. Another thing is to help them realize the tenacity that it's going to take to start your own business. It's not a situation where you can just open the business and go fishing and somebody's going to manage it for you, and the employees are going to provide good customer service and run it like you would run it personally. So you have to realize that there's going to be a lot of long hours involved in it, probably more hours than you're working on a regular traditional 40-hour-a-week job. And so you also have to consider your family life relationship, family work. As the family going to be supportive of you putting in all these long hours, and maybe you being gone at the office or gone out on an actual job somewhere, or you're going to have to travel, depending on what it is. So the family's got to be supportive. So you got to go into it realizing that it's tough, or everybody would start their own business if it wasn't hard to get funding, if it wasn't hard to work the long hours and the hard hours and that kind of thing. Everybody would have their own small business. So,
yeah. Well, what do you think about that, Josh? You're
gonna try to bring me in the conversation over here.
yeah. Come on in. Come
Y'all are
on.
doing a good job.
Come
I'm trying not
on
to
in.
mess nothing up over here. Well, I'm just going to talk from the small business standpoint, because we did use ASBTC from Arkansas Tech University for our business. And I will say I'm good at what I do. I can train people. I can teach you how to shoot a gun. I can do all kinds of really cool stuff. It's super fun. I am not necessarily the best paperwork person. So I think it's important in business is to kind of also recognize what your strength is, either as a business leader or leader in general, or what you're going to do and what that is. So for me, they were fantastic. So I was able to come in. I had a business plan. It was written, not written well, just full disclosure right now. But they're professionals. So when I bring them that business plan, I say, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to happen. I had a little bit of market research, but it was nowhere as in depth as what Rhonda did for me and what the center was able to do for me in my business plan. And yeah, it is a great way to secure funds, right? They have a small business association. You can get money through your bank, all that kind of stuff. But if you're someone that's going to be an entrepreneur and you're looking to take that next big step to get your business off the ground, you need those funds like what James is talking about over here. That business plan just opened up so many doors for us. Like, because we went to the bank, it's like, what are you doing? Well, here we are. This is what we're doing. And they go, oh, great. This is a business plan, right? So that was like our opening, getting our foot in the door. People would listen to us. So that was kind of our first step to get that major funding. And it wouldn't have been possible. I mean, we might have got there. It wouldn't have been done probably as quickly or as well if we didn't have that business plan that's professionally written, ready to go. And so, because that's what they do. So we're able to leverage that small business center, and you can take that and use it for what you need to use it for, which is important. And I think the other piece of that is, you might be, like James said, the best chef in the world, and everyone's like, oh, you should own a business. It's like, you should open a restaurant. That's great. Yeah. Well, it's great to cook Thanksgiving dinner once a year and like slave and do all that stuff. That's fabulous. But when you do that every day, 3 meals a day, and you got to make the ends meet, it's a different animal, right? I can tell you just from our experience, I've got a full-time job that I love, and I love what I do. And then I've got a business that we're opening with two partners, Brent Hottinger and Robbie Sims, at the I-40 gun range and store out there at Pottsville. And we're super excited. We broke ground. We got buildings up. We're trying to get to that grand opening date. It's going to be real exciting. And it all kind of started with this relationship with the small business center here at Arkansas Tech. And that's kind of what got us to where we are today. I'm not sure where we would be, honestly, if we hadn't partnered with them. But as an entrepreneur, if you're looking to like take that dream of yours, whether it's hangboards, right, or whatever it is. I know you said demoralized. Maybe just reality check's a good word, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
When they
I'm
do that,
thankful for
you're thankful.
what Rhonda gave me.
That's right, because then you'd be telling your wife or your loved one later and saying, hey, by the way, honey, we're broke. That dream we had about, making the whatchamadoodles for the Holger people, it's not good in Russellville, Arkansas. That can maybe save you a lot of heartache in the future. But the beauty of it is that they were able to come in and like tell us, this is what the market research says. This is who your target audience is. And so there are actually people that we haven't even considered as part of our target audience, right? So Robbie and Brent, they got over a decade experience running a gun store, and they're great, right? I do firearms training. I like to go to the range, I like to shoot guns, do all that kind of stuff. Super fun. Done a lot of really cool opportunities in my life to get to that point where I'm at. Teach classes, good stuff like that. So us coming together is just a good combination. But then that business plan has some things in there that we didn't even think through that were pointed out, and we're like, man, there really is a good shot at making this work and being successful, because we gave her some numbers based on what we were already doing in our own personal business, and they take those numbers, and it's just the pre-existing numbers. It's easier for them to work with, which is nice, but they're like, hey, let's project out like the next 5-10 years, and we're like, hey, we can actually make this work, and we can do a living wage for 3 people on one business. And that was a very I don't know the best way to say it, but like that piece that kind of passes understanding, like, hey, this is possible, right? Mm-hmm. So when you realize that dream you have is a reality, that's what's cool. And he's not lying about the hours. Everybody always tells you, like, if you own the business and it doesn't get done, it doesn't matter if you got an employee over here. They're going to go home, eat their dinner, and watch their TV, whatever they got doing in their personal life. But if it don't get done, that's on you as the business owner. So you got to make sure it gets done. You got to be able to be there. And working for somebody 20, 30, 40 hours a week, whatever you're doing, having that paycheck in the bank, that's a very nice feeling. Going out on your own and fulfilling that dream and that passion is really, really cool experience. But just be prepared. Like, if you're not ready to put in the work and have that discipline, that motivation, because motivation runs out. I know that's probably not a popular talk, but motivation is only as lasting as the person. But perseverance and discipline is where it's at. So if you're someone that has that, I mean, they're a great resource for anybody. I will give you a caveat, though. There's a lot of food trucks. So if you're interested in starting a food truck in Arkansas, you have a pretty competitive
it's a hot
market
topic
there.
right now.
It is.
It's a hot thing.
I know.
So on the food truck thing, I think if you just if you have consistent hours, you're already like halfway there.
I mean, that's kind of true too.
Yeah.
But how'd you figure
that
out?
consistency
Yeah.
is key.
Being open.
Yeah.
Yep. But how'd you figure out, like, a shooting range sounds like a good idea here because there isn't one here. But how'd you figure out, like, oh, yeah, this is a good idea here?
Well, it's pretty simple or the way it was explained to me. How's that? I don't have the consulting company. I know James is, they're the resident experts on here. So I am just regurgitating information that was given to me because I'm not a business major, a business degree. But they're able to take the local area, and we have a gun club over the river, and it's a very nice gun club. They do a really good job over there, but they're rocking out 900 members, right? And then there's a gun club in Conway, and they're up there at 500 plus members at their gun club. And so there's a really good market. And when you look at the metrics on that, like, where are those people coming from? Mm-hmm. Well, a lot are coming from Pottsville, Russellville, Dover. They're coming from this area. And then we know, based on the market research, like, the political climate is always fun to try to figure out the best way to say things and not just make the entire world mad. But at the end of the day, this area, we like guns, right? We're not trying to take them away. We're not trying to put them in a locker, say you can't have this, you can't do that. Like, we're like, hey, we're great. Let's sell some guns. And we know through the ATF and the gun sale industry, they've doubled every year for several years in a row on just the FFL submitting applications for people buying guns, the e-form. So we know it's a thriving business. And then all the metrics for the market are showing that over the next 5 years, it's going to go through the roof, right? So if you have a gun, it's great. But what do you want to do with it? It's like buying a set of golf clubs and some golf balls. What's the next step? I'd like to maybe go find a golf course, go play some golf.
It.
That's right. I want to go shoot it. I want to go have some fun with it, see what I can do, right? Maybe I'm a world-class shooter. Maybe I just want to go plink and have a good time, or maybe it's something I want to teach my boys growing up, or my daughters, my family members, get them through the door. It's just a really good opportunity. So, like, for us, it was just a natural step. So the market research supported it. A lot of people here ready to go. And, and there's going to be people that stay at the gun club across the river, and that's great. It's just like anything else. We got 5 different coffee shops in the city of Russellville. Mm-hmm. Some people argue with you like tooth and nail which one tastes the best, right? Everybody's got their flavor of life. There's several gun stores in this area, and people be like loyal customers to each gun store. And we have, like 6 of those things running around, right? So we have one that we're opening up. Ours is a little bit different because we have a range attached to it. So not only can you buy your product there, you can go right out back, shoot it, have a great time with that, right? So we're just kind of offering that next evolution. Plus we'll rent guns, things like that. So if you're thinking about buying a gun, come rent a gun, see if you like it. Because I get asked a lot of times, don't want to veer too much off the small business thing, but I get asked a lot of times for a good example is what kind of gun do you like? Are you a Glock guy? Do you like SIG? Do you like this? Do you like this? And I'm like, I like what I can shoot. So,
right.
Yeah. So we get out there and we'll actually take people and then try different guns, things like that. So you buy the product you want, give them the service that they want. And we've said this from the get-go. We're going to be a member-led range. So our members that sign up, want to do the deal, we're going to be like, hey, what do you like to do? Well, I want to trap shoot. I want to shoot a bow. I want to do this. I want to do this. All right. Can we offer those services? And is the demand there for those services? So that's going to be cool. And we actually have that in our market research through the Small Business Center over here. So at the end of the day, it just helped us kind of solidify our mission and our purpose and kind of water it down. Like, what are you really like? He used the word crystallization of your thoughts and stuff. It basically made us laser focused on what we wanted to do, because the other thing we kind of get caught up in is if we try to do so much.
Yes.
We do a really good job of not doing any of it well, right? there's some quotes there, but I can't say that on the air. But I want to do something whole way, not halfway, right? So I'll make sure I've got the ability to do that.
100%. I've personally fallen into that trap many times where it's like, oh, more is better.
Yeah.
More is not better.
No.
They call it diversification of your portfolio or something, like offer as many services as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that works. I don't know. Maybe it works when you have you prove one and then you hire more people, you grow. Because I mean, big companies do a lot of things well, I guess. But what do you think that the I-40 crew has done well? Because I imagine me being one of them with old business ideas, a lot of people never get to this point where they're building the thing now. So what would you attribute to their success as kind of like an outside third party looking in?
Okay. Actually doing the marketing research, or allowing us to do the marketing research and again, make sure they had a viable business idea, a concept that was going to work for this area. And it wasn't, I mean, it's nice to have a range, but is the range in this area appropriate? And so some of that market research, writing the business plan, like you said, to crystallize his thoughts and get that on paper and get him laser focused on that. Having previous experience at it. So if I wanted to open a plumbing store, I mean, I fix things around the house, but I'm not a plumber, so I probably don't need to be opening a plumbing business. So they've got the expertise. You know, him and both of his partners have got backgrounds with firearms and law enforcement. So very, very important. They have a lot of experience with safety related to firearms. And so it's not just going to be, a place where, people just go out and shoot recklessly. And there's also going to be instruction provided, which is going to be really handy for a lot of people. I haven't talked to him specifically about it, but I'm sure with what he's done so far in the past, is he'll have instruction specifically for women, because they want to know about pistols, but they also are intimidated sometimes by thinking that people are going to make fun of them about, being a little bit afraid of a pistol or whatever. And there's a lot of guys that are afraid of pistols, so they don't need to feel that way about it at all. But he's going to provide non-judgmental, safe training, so a good working, safe environment there. But the big foundations were the things that he enumerated there. It's the marketing, the business plan, making sure that you've got sufficient funding to buy groceries and make your house payment or your car payment while you're getting your business established. Because oftentimes we put every penny, all our eggs in one basket. I've had 2 restaurants, and so for the very first one, I put every penny I had into it. And so my back was to the wall. I remember the first day we opened the door, I'm standing watching people streaming in thinking, oh, man, what have you done? And then, but we started out, we were going to be just a lunch place. We weren't going to have sandwiches and burgers. We were going to differentiate ourselves. And all of the customers kept saying, we want hamburgers. We want hamburgers. Where's the french fries? Where's the hamburgers? Where's the sandwiches? So we listened to the customers and we changed our menu instead of telling them, no, this is what, we got. You take it or leave it type thing. So you listen to them. But the wife made a grilled cook out of me. I hadn't had that experience before, so I can do grilled cheese sandwiches and burgers and grilled ham and cheese. But we probably worked 80 hours a week on the business. It was six days a week, oftentimes a little bit on Sunday afternoons for some of the heavy-duty cleaning, that kind of things. So oftentimes you think of a small business when they close the door, they're closed and they go home and watch TV. And
Nope.
The dishwasher didn't show up, so I'm washing dishes by hand for 2 hours because I can't afford a commercial grade dishwasher. When you go into business for yourself, probably one of your greatest expenses is going to be your payroll expense. Mm-hmm. And so you got to do things yourself. Even if you're tired and wore out, you can't afford to hire an entire staff of people to make it easier. You're going to have to pay your dues until you get established, and then add the staff gradually as you go along. So one of your biggest thing then is starting out is controlling your expenses. You've got to control your payroll. You've got to control your food costs if you're in a restaurant. And you've got to control any donations that you make, even though you'd like to donate to all the local charities. And once you open the doors, you'll be surprised how many folks come by. Oh, we need you to buy tickets for this or donate for this and all. And they're all great causes. Yeah. But you just can't donate to everybody's function, no matter how big your heart is. And so you'll have to steel yourself a little bit to that. And then you're going to have to make sure that the whole family understands that, this is going to be tough for maybe a couple of years at least until we get established. And so they've got to be supportive of you. And if they're not, particularly if it's a husband and wife and the husband doesn't support the wife in the business she's trying to start or vice versa, then that hurts your chances for success because you're constantly going to have a little friction over the hours that are involved in it.
Well, I think you both bring up a really good point, too, is the motivation. Like, motivation is a feeling, and it fades. And when it fades, that's when what you're describing, right, is like all the extra hours, all the extra work. That's where that discipline, the grit, everything comes into play. And a lot of people will lose the feeling of being motivated, and then they're like, okay, well, this isn't working, so I got to get out. Or, they don't plan for the next 3 to 5 to 10 years when opening a business. And so I think I just wanted to highlight that you guys said that and bring that back around, because I think it's key for anybody, especially coming to talk to you or starting a business or, thinking about a new idea, anything like that. Like, there's going to be times where you're asking yourself, what am I doing? Like, what have I just gotten myself into? So it's good that you're as prepared as you guys are, which is what they have provided you, because there's a lot of people that go in blind not knowing that, and you guys have a very clear picture. And I think that that speaks to the resource that you guys provide at Tech, but I think it's also, just for anyone even thinking about an idea or starting, that's the reality. And the reality is you're going to be working 80 hours a week for yourself, and you still may not live a life of luxury that everybody envisions for themselves. We've all seen it where people are like, I'm going to be off, traveling, and no, you're not.
Not for the first couple of years, no.
Yeah, a traditional analogy for that motivation is buying a treadmill in January and using it for a coat rack in July.
Right.
Your motivation wanes just a little bit sometimes when you have to get up or extra 30 minutes in the morning to use that.
Yeah. I like the word overnight success, right? You're successful. Oh, man, you're so quick. It's like, no, not really. You've been training civilians since like 2017 in firearms and doing law enforcement like years before that. So since like 2008, 2010. So at the end of the day, you're like, I've been doing this for a hot minute. Right. And one day they're like, oh, well, you got this range. You just kind of pop this up out of nowhere. This kind of pops up. And you're like, it's not an overnight success. Right. That's the thing is. And I got a friend of mine owns a martial arts school in town. And, man, he started back when he was in college. He was undergrad. If he got $20, he's like, all right, I can eat tonight, Yeah. And he's just pursuing that dream. And now he's got a facility where him and his wife are basically doing what they want when they want, right? Because I got a friend of mine, he's a wealth manager guy. And, whenever we talk to him, it was kind of interesting. We're asking him, like, how do you find wealthy, right? So as a small business owner or someone that wants to own a small business, you got to ask yourself, what does it mean to be wealthy to you, right? Am I Elon Musk running around in spaceships and stuff? Right. Or what does that mean? And so his definition of wealthy, which kind of resonated with me, is being able to do what you want when you want. Yes. Right? So can you get to a point in your life where you're going, so right now my wife is down in Gulf Shores, Alabama, because my kids are on fall break, and she's down there having a little vacay, right? That's great. I'm here working, right? So there's a little bit of a difference thing, right? We got things we got to do. Yeah. Okay? And so that's what happens sometimes that occurs, but you still got those experiences. People still get to do stuff. But like for you as a small business owner, overnight success really isn't a thing. No. Yeah. You can have a video go viral, but that doesn't mean you're overnight success. But at the same time, what does it mean to be wealthy? Like, what does that look like to you?
Yeah, and that's different for everybody.
I know. It is.
And that's what people don't, it's a lot of people think wealthy is just money. And they're like, I'm just going to be rich. Well, then you also have to define that for yourself too. Like, what is rich for you, right? Because maybe it's having a fancy car or a big nice house, but other people don't care about that, you know? So I like that you brought that up, because that's huge. And sometimes just the flexibility, or your wife being able to take your kids on fall break, that could be, you know, somebody's definition of wealthy. And even though you're here working, you know, it's like, wait a minute, I signed up for the wrong role.
I'm going in the spring. I just want you to know.
Yeah.
We're going to Universal in May, and
There
I've already
you
got that
go.
on the books, and we're heading out. So I'm going on that trip.
There you go.
I can miss the beach for one time. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like that. I like that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Hey, have y'all seen the movie The Founder? It's the McDonald's movie.
Oh.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's worth a watch, but he says
Have you
something in the
seen-
movie that's like, McDonald's was an overnight success, 30 years in the making, you know? And when you said that, it made me think of that. So to leave our viewers with something, I'm going to ask us all a question. It's kind of putting us all on the spot, but if we had a young person in front of us saying, you know, hey, what is one book that you received the most value from when it comes to business or entrepreneurship? We have to give that book recommendation to them. For me, it would either be Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And the reason it's that one is because if you tell yourself you can't do it, which I've done a lot of, just mentally, you wake up in the morning and you're thinking, oh man, I got to do this, I can't do it. You know, you can't do it. But if you tell yourself you will do it, you can do it, then the day just kind of flows a little bit better. So Sarah, what would you, if there was one book
Put
that
me
you've
on the
gotten the
spot.
most, putting you on the spot.
I'm a reader.
I was sitting over here scheming for the last 5 minutes. Okay, this is the book I'm going to pick.
I'm
You guys
probably
don't have
gonna
that
say, yeah, I'm going to say like some cliche ones, but I think one, and I can't remember the author, but if you guys know the author and have read it, please drop the name. Never Split the Difference is one that really helps you go into any conversation and know how to have negotiating skills no matter what you're talking about. So I think that one is good. And I think Atomic Habits, that's going to be the cliche one because that's like a really popular one. But I think that it's key is knowing the habits that you have and goal setting and all of that. It will lead you to look like an overnight success, right? Because that's what happens, at least for me, how I envision it, is all of the successful people I know started out with very small goals. They hit those goals, they, keep going and they reach all of that. So I think your habits and how you show up every day for yourself resonates with me as far as, in my leadership journey. One of the books I read very early on that I would recommend to a younger person.
Those are Atomic Habits is good. That Never Split the Difference, that was written by like an FBI negotiator.
He was a hostage
interrogator.
negotiator.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What
I
about
think
you?
it's Rick Voss, but I could be totally wrong.
I've read it. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've read so many, I start losing track of the
Yes.
authors unless it's to John Maxwell or Stephen Covey,
True,
where they've
yes.
written multiple volumes. And
Yes.
by the way, all of those would be good books. But
Yes.
not traditionally, it may be a business startup book, but there's one called The Leadership Challenge by Posner and Knowles, and it speaks to the importance traits of a leader. And so to be a business person, a small business person, you'll need these same traits. And the number one trait that they've done in all their research, and they've done extensive surveys and studies to derive all their statistical data, is trust. So people have to be able to trust you. So your employees have to be able to trust you. The bank's going to have to be able to trust you when you come in with your business plan. Your business partners are going to have to trust you. And your customers are going to have to trust you. So that's probably the book that I would recommend for life in general, because we talk a lot about all of the different traits, but what really makes a difference is the way we think. So years ago, there was a comic cartoon called Pogo, and the guy that wrote that Pogo thing actually created a poster for the first Earth Day. But it shows a scene with garbage and trash all through a wooded area, and Pogo is a porcupine kind of like character standing there thinking, we have met the enemy and he is us. And so the greatest deterrent for most people is the way we think ourselves. It controls the way we behave. It controls our tenacity, controls our flexibility, controls the way we treat people. So the way we think is got to include trust in our leadership style.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
What was the book question again? Because I'll be honest, like if I'm sitting here asking about books, like I like to read, and so it really depends on the topic. Like, so you're asking for small business owners, is that what you're asking? Or what
All right, you
asking?
got a 21-year-old college student in front of you, and they're asking you, I can't do anything, I don't have, they're not getting anything done. Josh, what do I need to read? I want to start a business. Thing.
There's not one book for that.
There is. There's not. I hate to say that. Yeah, it's a
One
culmination. A culmination of book. I would say that if you got a 21-year-old that's not doing anything, it's like we would fix that problem first. Reading's not going to fix that problem.
Maybe that was an extreme example.
We need to do some different stuff there. But in the vein that she's talking about with the split the difference, there's a book called The Like Switch. It's another FBI CIA profiler.
That's a good one.
That's a great book, right?
Yes.
So if you want to learn how to read people and get people to kind of buy into what you're doing and what's happening, it's a great book on building relationships and how to be the person that builds a good quality relationship, right? If you're a good person, obviously. But at the end of the day, that's a good book. Atomic Habits is a good book as well. I guess for me, I really enjoyed reading Good to Great by Jim Collins. That's a really good book. I enjoy that just because it gives you a model of how to take a business and make it better, right? But then if I'm talking about someone that is trying to build a business, I'd probably go with a book called The Talent Code. It's Unlocking Potential, and it basically talks about how people from these little remote regions are so successful, right? And if you can get some of the habits that they do to be successful in the sports they're doing, that transfers over to business so well. Because that perseverance, that grit we talk about, which is a book, by the way, by Angela Duckworth, if you want to read it. So it's another one of those books out there. So I don't have just one, but at the end of the day, anything like that's going to do. And then if I was talking to a 21-year-old, I'd probably recommend some podcasts. There's about some podcasts out there.
I was just going to say, I'd probably, now that you were very specific on that, I'd probably say Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
Is that a book?
It's a book.
It is.
And they have tons of different series, but it really, at 21, emotional intelligence is huge in how you manage yourself, your emotions, like other people, your self-awareness, your social awareness, like definitely, because it's going to help them with their communication, right? Help build trust. Like everything that we've talked about is going to help them in that. And it will open their eyes to a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So y'all have heard like the brain is matured at 25, right? You've heard somebody say something like that?
Sure.
We've all been 25.
Yeah, we're past.
So I'm 27. And when I was 25,
Are you really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
felt like I'm just born. I feel like I'm 2 years old right now, if that makes sense. I feel like my brain just kind of hit something when I turned 25, and it's like, oh, the things I thought were important
Wait till you hit 30.
aren't important
Or
anymore.
40.
Yeah.
Sometimes
change.
when I'm talking to younger people, I say, when you were 10 years old, did you know more than you did when you were 5? When you were 16, did you know more when you were 10? Now that you're 18, do you think you'll know more when you're 25 or 30? Because I think they've arrived at that point oftentimes. My dad used to quote Mark Twain to me. He'd said, the young boy was talking to his father when he was about 8 years old. His dad was just the greatest man in the world. Couldn't do anything wrong. Just a superman. Got to be about 13 or so, and there's a few things Dad didn't know, but he's still pretty smart. Got to be 16 to 18. My dad was the dumbest man in the world. He didn't know anything. When I got to be 25, I said, boy, I wish Dad was here. He'd sure know what to do with this mess. So you have to realize growing up that you're going to get wiser and wiser.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
not everybody does. Some people are still adult children, but
That's true.
Yep.
you know.
I think if I was going to offer anything on the book stuff, because there's so many good books out there, but I think the message is always be the eternal student and never stop learning. So you're saying brain
100%.
development, at 25, all the studies like Alzheimer's research they're doing, dementia research, stuff like that, people that have a more active lifestyle and they actually challenge themselves in new ways, right? The older you are, so you don't just kind of settle in that rut and say, hey, I've arrived, I'm here. You never arrived, you're never there. There's always somewhere else you can go. not only in business is that going to take you further, it's going to take you further in life as well. So, I mean, that's just a great, always challenge yourself, find new things to do, because you push those, the synapses in your brain to do more, and your brain can always grow. So as far as what you got going on and what's happening.
Absolutely. Brain's just like another muscle. You just need to
Yes.
exercise it. You got to use it.
Yep.
You know, take piano lessons or study a foreign language or do something to make it stimulated and force it to use it. You know,
Yes.
you know, do math or something. You know.
Crossword puzzles, whatever you do on Sunday, it's fine.
So on that note, there's one more book I'll just throw out there too, The Art of Learning. Have you read that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That
I
one's,
haven't read that one.
it's real
Swazinski.
good.
It's good.
How do you say his name?
I'm not going to say it again. If you have it recorded, you can go back and look at it.
Or you? I've always wondered how to say his name, but he was like a chess grandmaster as a kid, and then became a martial arts guy.
You know the movie Finding Bobby Fischer?
Yes.
That's him. So the
okay.
chess kid in that movie is him. And when he
oh,
grows up, he actually became a chess master in the art of learning, and he actually started doing jiu-jitsu and some Wing Chun push stance stuff. But he's done some pretty cool stuff. He's got a whole academy. Is that what it's called? School? Yeah, academy.
Yeah.
Called The Art of Learning online. It's pretty good stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it was awesome. I had fun. I think our viewers can extrapolate some value here. And if we didn't make it clear enough, the ASBTDC is a free resource. You don't have to be a tech alum or go to tech to utilize them. So thanks for listening, everybody.
All right. Thank you
See
very
you in the
much.
next one.
Appreciate
Thanks,
being here
guys.
today. Thanks.
This episode is brought to you by our partners and collaborators in the Arkansas River Valley. If you've enjoyed this episode, visit rvtownsquare.com. Give us an email, a text, a call. Let us know who you want to see on the show next. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.